passing around the attendance, you know the drill, and pass it around. We have just a few things to do today. We might get out a little bit early. First thing I'd like to do is go over the quiz. Has anyone not submitted their quiz? Has everyone seen their grade and everything like that? Did you not submit the quiz?
No, I did. I just didn't.
What's the last name?
Mitchell.
You did it through Moodle or through Moodle?
I just don't know how to check through.
Oh, okay. So you submitted it, I'm sure it's been graded and everything. Yes.
I submitted it on Tuesday, but when I look back at like my submission, I highlighted my answers.
Yes.
And I sent you an email.
Yes, okay, so many of you, especially on those last two, highlighted your answer. And I don't know why, sometimes it comes through, sometimes it doesn't. No idea what to do to make sure that it comes through. And so if it looked like you didn't answer it, I said -2. But today you can come and show me, hey, look, I had highlighted those and here's my answers, and you'll be given due credit for your right answers. Does everybody understand that? So we'll have a little time. I don't want to jip people out of points, but this is something to remember, and that is highlighting doesn't always come through. I like it when you use it because it's really easier for me, but also do something else. Don't just highlight because it might not come through. Has everybody got that? And those that highlighted and lost points because I didn't see the highlight, you'll have a chance to come tell me and we'll fix it, we'll adjust it, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go over the quiz right now, and the first part is determining whether it's an argument or a non-argument, and then you need to indicate which kind of non-argument it is by telling me it's a conditional statement or it's an explanation or whatnot, or listing the number of the kind it is. Some people were saying it's a non-argument and they left it, the explanation blank, okay? So don't do that, okay? The other thing is this, don't jump at the first answer that seems right. Make sure you think about all the possible answers, because sometimes one answer is better than another, and I want you to give the best answer. Does everybody understand that? Okay. So number one, if you want to make America great again, then you must vote for Trump. Okay? That's a conditional statement, so I'm looking for the passage is not an argument because, number one, conditional statement. Now, what a lot of you did is you said no particular claim is supported by evidence, which is true, but we noted that conditionals by themselves were not supported by evidence. So the best answer would have been conditional. Does everybody understand that? Best answer is conditional, okay? There are passages where no particular claim is supported by evidence that are not conditionals. That's when you use that. But if there's a claim not supported by evidence because it's just a conditional, use conditional. Does everybody understand that? Okay? Okay. Number two, Sally said we should definitely get a Morkie Poo as a pet. She said it has the qualities we are looking for in a pet: non-shedding, small, and adorable. A lot of people said, well, that's an argument that we should get a Morkie Poo, right? But this is just reporting Sally's argument that we should get a Morkie Poo. Does everybody understand that? So if you see Joe said this or Joe said that, and it looks like, hey, there's an argument there, ask yourself, well, is an argument being made, or is someone telling us about someone's argument? If it's telling us about someone's argument, then it's report of the argument, right? And so I think if you're taking your time and look through all the possibilities, you would say, oh, you know what? there's an argument in there, but it's being reported, and then you would have got the right answer. Does everybody understand that? So slow down a little bit and look over everything. And by the way, this was supposed to be out of 20 points, but what I did is, I said, if a question was worth 4 points and you missed it, I only took off 2, I took off half. So that way, we can learn from our mistakes without being punished from our mistakes, right? So if you got everything wrong, you still got a 10. Does everybody understand that? Okay. But if you got close to a 10, you're gonna need to put some time in studying for this, okay? All right, so that turns us to part 2, where your job is to determine whether it's an inductive or a deductive argument, right? And also, not just that, but you tell me which kind of inductive or deductive argument it is. Does everybody understand that? And usually, because I'm a tower of Jello, on the test, if you get the first part right, it's deductive or inductive. I'm gonna give you half credit. And then if you get the final part right, then you get the full credit. Does everybody understand that? So I'm gonna consider it a partial success if you get the inductive or deductive part, full success if you get the kind right as well. Does everybody understand that? Okay. All right. So number 1, Armand Duplantis has set the world record in the pole vault for the last 3 consecutive years. The record now stands at 6.24 meters. Actually, it's past that now. Certainly, Armand will set a new world record next year. That's inductive, and it's a prediction. Does everybody understand that? And look, it's not enough to just write down the right answer if you didn't get it right. You need to ask why that's the right answer if you don't understand. Does everybody understand that? Do you have a question?
Yeah, could you explain more, because I put down deductive for mathematical reasons.
Okay. There's no mathematical calculation being done. So you were not alone. Lots of people, they saw numbers, they said, where's math, where's math? Math, right? So that's why I'm asking you to slow down. There was no math calculation done. It was just, those numbers were just reports of, right? There's no calculating and crunching. You need calculating and crunching for you to consider mathematics. And then if you see calculating and crunching, you have to differentiate between probability and statistics and math proper. Probability and statistics, that's going to be inductive. Math proper is going to be deductive. So everybody understand that? A lot of people jumped on deductive by mathematical reasoning, but there was no mathematical reasoning in there. Everybody got that? So it was just a prediction. Okay. 2, the banana is labeled as organic. If the label is correct, then it was grown without the use of man-made pesticides. Okay. The answer that I was looking for was deductive by definition. Okay. But as people, answer the questions, it seemed as if there was another reasonable answer. Okay. So I was looking for deductive by definition. It follows from it's organic to blah, 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 blah. But also people said, well, this is it's inductive. It's an argument from authority, the authority of the label. Does everybody understand that? And that does seem a reasonable way to look at it. So I accepted either of those answers. Does everybody got that? Okay, so it was one of the 2, but what I was looking for was deductive by definitions.
I also, because I'm just trying to make sure I kill the next test. So like, I put cause and effect, but like effect back to cause.
Did you write me a little paragraph explaining?
Yeah. Yeah, because I was.
I'm like, you are overthinking
Yeah,
this.
I was probably, because I'm thinking about if it's grown organically, then the label is put on it because it was grown organically.
No, because there are many organic bananas that might not what? Have that label on it, right? So when you think of cause and effect, think about the rules of nature as, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no rule of nature that if this is organically grown, we must put a label on it, right? Imagine your homesteaders with banana trees. Don't eat that, we gotta put a label on it first. No, that's not gonna happen. Okay, part 3 concepts. There's gonna be nothing like this on the test, but I just had to even out the points. The conclusion of the argument cannot be a conditional statement. That is false. Okay, and I think I supplied an example that went something like this. If A, then B, if B, then C, therefore if A, then C. That's an argument, these are premises, that's a conclusion. The conclusion is a conditional, the premises are conditional, right? So conclusion can be a conditional, okay? Both arguments to and from a scientific law are deductive. That is false as well, okay? Remember, our trick to figuring out which is which is if you're arguing to a scientific law, the law is in the conclusion, okay? And that's an inductive argument. If you're arguing from a scientific law, the law is in a premise. Everybody got that? And by the way, look, if I say such and such a law, and you're like, oh, I've never heard of that, well, maybe because I'm just making it up, right? But if I say something's a law, assume it's a law because I'm trying to, what? Argue to it or from it. Does everybody understand that? So if I said, given the law of karma, Joe just did something bad, so something bad's gonna happen to Joe, that would be a case of arguing from a scientific law, okay? Don't worry about it whether or not it's really a scientific law. If I call it a law, assume that it's a law. Everybody got that? Just because I run out of ideas, okay? All right, so that's the quiz, okay? And I'll give you an opportunity at the end to come up and tell me if you got gypped those points at the end because of the highlighting issue. Everybody got that? Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to go over